Folks, let me talk to you about the wild west of real estate. And then I'll get into the latest home prices and insights for the Peel and Durham regions for week ending September 24th, 2025. If you want to speak directly with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video, in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. There are pockets across the GTA that's really confusing when you're looking at the listings. I'll give you an example. A property comes out at $999 with an offer date. Now, if you really take the time, if you're on the buyer side, and really take the time to research the area and look at sales and really analyze, maybe the seller, a fair price at the moment, let's just say it's about 1.3. But they're listed at $999 with an offer date. They get very few showings, and then on offer night, there's no offers. Or maybe there's one, but it's nowhere near where the seller wants to be. So they got to come up with another strategy. So seller and agent sit, assuming they discuss it thoroughly, what the situation is, and this is what happened, and this is what they should do now. And what they come up with is, we're going to relist at $899. We tried $999, it didn't work. So let's go $899 because it's important we get a lot of people into the house to have a look. And of course, then buyers are going to compete and we're going to get the price that we want. Well, they do get a lot more people through the house, but I can tell you, with lots of confidence, that they're probably attracting people with a budget of around $850. So they may get a few offers, but they're even further away now from where the seller actually is expecting to be. And we see this in multiple neighborhoods across the GTA. It's like, so you're a buyer, you're looking at this, you're looking at the history, because buyers, first of all, have access to everything. Realtors have access to all the history as well, and we'll share it with our buyer clients. Here's what's going on. Buyers are looking at this, agents are looking at this, kind of scratching their head wondering, what's the seller trying to do? This is what I mean about the Wild West. You can't figure out what makes sense based on listing history anymore because there's no rhyme or reason. So let me leave you with this. There are so many selling strategies to choose from. But I can tell you, confusing the buyer does not help you to sell your home. It's the opposite effect. Buyers tend not to put in offers if they're confused or unsure, or if they do, they're very cautious on the number because they don't want to overpay. That's a buyer's biggest fear. If you're confusing them, you're not going to get the number you're looking for if you're a seller. Who you hire matters. If you feel this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. And if you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. Now, let's get into the numbers. Folks, here we go. In this show, we're focused on the Peel and Durham markets, specifically detached properties for Mississauga, Brampton, and although it says Durham there, for Durham, I'm using Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby as my Durham sample. These are average sold prices, and if we just focus on the last few weeks, kind of into the fall market, kind of looks like each of these markets, prices have come down a bit. We're going to start off with Mississauga. For a week ending September 24th, sales look like they've been climbing. 47 sales, 47 detached properties were sold for week ending September 24th. This is just for Mississauga. I've got a whole year on the board here. And although 47 is not a record-breaking week, it is definitely amongst the top weeks. We've got a 52, we've got a 50, we've got a 47. So this 47 is like just a quick scan, one of the top 5 weeks we've had all year. 47 were sold. 3 of those sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price is sitting at $1,280,000. Average sold prices are trending down. 1,280 is 9% lower than the same week a year ago. The median price of 1,214 is 5% lower than the same week a year ago. The dotted line, that's a 4-week moving average. And for average price and median price, the 4-week moving average shows a trend downwards. 47 were sold, 10 of those, so 21% sold at list price or more. Listings, well, August listings were, going from August to September, listings jumped way up from 124 to 195. Listings have kind of come down a bit since then. Active listings, they're climbing. Over the last few weeks, we went from 874. We're now at 991. So they're up, not so aggressively, but there are more properties, more detached properties available for sale in Mississauga. In months of inventory, similar to last week, but we're currently at 4.9 months of inventory, which is like the top end of a balanced market. Look, it's not an exact science, so it's not like everywhere it's going to be a balanced market. It may be a buyer's market. It may be a balanced market, because this averages out all of Mississauga. Here's Brampton. Sales looks like they're a little bit lower since they've been over the last few weeks. 41 detached properties were sold in Brampton. No properties sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price is sitting at $1,053,000. It is higher than the previous week, but overall average price is trending down. It's up and down, all the way down. $1,053,000 is 8% lower than the same week a year ago. The median price of $990 is 11% in the same week a year ago. 41 were sold. 11, so 27%, sold at list price or more. 213 were listed. Active listings, pretty much unchanged. Look, I mean, it's not exactly the same as the previous few weeks, but pretty much unchanged. I mean, there's not a big difference over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And months of inventory climbing. We're now at 7.6 months of inventory. That's a buyer's market. And here's Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby for detached properties only. Week ending September 24th, 41 detached properties sold. Those sales are pretty similar to what we've seen over the last few weeks. 1 property sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price is $1,018,000. Overall, average sold price trending downward. $1,018,000 is 2% lower than the same week a year ago. The median price of $1,005,000, it's slightly lower than the same week a year ago, but it rounds off to a 0% change. 41 were listed, 16 of those, so 39%, a little bit busier, or I guess more competitive in Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby than a lot of the other areas, where 39% sold at list price or more. Listings, we're seeing fewer listings. Active listings, and not a lot of change. There are 707 available detached properties across Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. And months of inventory sitting at 4 months of inventory. Quick summary, pretty much sitting in either a balanced market, in, say, Mississauga in Durham, a buyer's market in Brampton. And when we compare months of inventory to a year ago, Mississauga currently at 4.9, last year was 4. Brampton is where you see a huge change, where we're currently at 7.6. This time last year, we were at 3.7. Ajax, Pickering, Whitby, also quite a bit of a change from 4 months of inventory now to 2.8 a year ago. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.